Hello, my name is Alexandria Hall, and I'm here with Brogan Borans and Connor Bayan. We will be discussing Target's cybersecurity breach that happened near the holiday season in 2013. Before we dive into the breach and what it entails, I'll give a brief overview of the retail giant Target. Founded in 1902, Target is currently the eighth largest retailer in the United States. Before the breach, it was in the top 5 of the National Retail Federation. Minneapolis is where the headquarters are located, and in 2014, Brian Cornell became the company's CEO. The, the quote that you see at the bottom of the slide was said by Brian Cornell, explaining in 2018 the company has seen the best sales growth in well over a decade. So, what exactly happened in the cybersecurity breach with Target? During the 2013 holiday season, Target's customers' financial information was breached. 40 million debit and credit cards were compromised, and on top of that, 70 million customers' records were lost. Customer records consist of customers' names, addresses, email addresses, and phone numbers. You might be asking, how would a successful company like Target allow such a huge breach to their company? Hackers were able to obtain this information through a third-party vendor of Target called Fazio Mechanical Services. Fazio Mechanical Services is a refrigeration and HVAC company based in Pennsylvania. Since Fazio had access into Target's network, the hackers were able to install malware into the systems. The HVAC company had access to Target's network because it made it easier for the company to do maintenance at various Target stores. You could say that not only Target, but Fazio Mechanical Services is at fault in this situation as well. The company should have used stricter procedures when using another company's network. The issues that led to this cybersecurity breach is that too many different companies had access to Target's information system. If it wasn't the Fazio HVAC company, it would have been a different one. There are other companies in Russia and Brazil that piggyback on Target's network. Knowing this, Target should be more observant and secure with their customers' information. Another contribution to the breach, a little out of Target's hands, were the outdated magnetic strips on the cards some customers would use. Target cashiers would have to manually enter in the credit card numbers since the cards would not swipe. When a card is keyed in instead of swiped, credit card companies do not know if the card was present during the transaction or not. This can be seen as an advantage to the hackers, since them stealing a card can be disguised as a keyed-in payment. The third problem that contributed to Target's large cybersecurity breach is outdated technology. The CVV number, the 3 digits on the back of a card, would not have been accessible to hackers if the cards were chip-based. And you cannot use a card if the CVV numbers are not present.
As for the prospects, one main one that we saw was that with this massive cybersecurity breach with Target, themselves and other companies increase their cybersecurity programs, which in turn reduces the likelihood of a breach occurring again. Moving on to recommendations, we thought of a few things that might be helpful to further prevent cybersecurity breaches and retain business. One way to help business might be to give affected customers some sort of rewards program or in-store credit to help keep that customer loyalty and maintain traffic coming through the door. In terms of preventing another breach, making sure the computer software systems are up to date with the latest cybersecurity programs and controlling in-store computer usage would really help protect the company. Also, making it clear to the employees of the store about procedures of customer privacy and policy would benefit. What were the impacts on global business? First off, chip reader technology was adopted by debit and credit card companies to reduce the chance of any customer information being leaked, changing the way the world pays for their goods and services. Secondly, these some 70 million people who were affected by the breach would have stopped using their debit and credit cards for online purchases, whether it be because of it getting lost or just the thought of losing their information again. These global companies were losing business because of this breach.
While the Target breach is not viewed as a positive experience, there were some advantages from it happening. The breach was brought to Congress' attention, which allowed them the ability to enact legislation preventing something like this. President Obama then pushed to have chip technology adopted. He signed an executive order. They realized that if chip usage would have been more widely used, this breach wouldn't have happened. The breach happened because of magnetic strips being used instead of chips on credit and debit cards. That's how the hackers were able to get into the system. Other companies then increased their cybersecurity to reduce the risk of a breach happening to them. Target was an example of what you do not want to have happen to your company. Some disadvantages to the Target breach were that customers didn't trust the retail company anymore. Their information was out there and hackers took advantage of it, got into the system, and they were all put at risk. Roughly 40 million customers were affected by this. Target had to pay $18.5 million to multiple different states just to settle the data breach. That was money coming out of their pocket on top of their already ruined reputation. They had to pay money to those affected by this breach. With multiple different companies having access to Target's information, it can be harder to find out who's looking at the information. The downfall of Target was that they let too many people have access to their website, and the HVAC company, that is how the hackers got in. So if Target had been more aware of who they were giving out their information to, the whole breach maybe could have been prevented. In conclusion, the Target breach occurred during the 2013 holiday season, one of the busiest shopping times of the year. They had a lot of in-store and online traffic, with many consumers buying goods for the holidays. The hackers accessed Target's network via a third party, which was HVAC, and stole millions of customers' credit and debit information and records. That led the customers to sort of distrust Target because all their information was out there, and they saw how easy it was to get to because of what the hackers did. Target paid out $18.5 million to people in 47 different states. If you could prove that you suffered loss or damage as a result of the hack, you were entitled to some sort of financial compensation. And because of the breach, the chip reader technology was adopted, and it was determined that if chip technology had been more prevalent at the time of the hack, it maybe could have been prevented because everyone was using the magnetic strips on the debit and credit cards to swipe. Now, had they been using chips, this could have gone down a whole lot different.